Hello, hello, and welcome
to another episode of the Strap Plotters.
The Strap Plotters. You got new shoes. New shoes for your watch.
Yes, exactly. Now you got new shoes for your watch. So I haven't received my new shoes yet, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So we'll have a strap heavy episode, which is very random because I was just on YouTube's, as I tend to be. And I was watching these Harrison Elmore videos, and he has four. A fourth one is coming. He has three published so far. Maybe by the time you hear this, all four will be out. But effectively, excuse me, I just swallowed wrong. He made these 45-minute long, ridiculously in-depth videos about straps. So one on rubber, one on cloth, two on leather, and one on bracelets. So, yeah. Ay. I'm dying.
Well, Martin is dying a tiny bit.
It's fine.
Yeah, so.
This is why you shouldn't eat some tortilla chips before podcasting. You know, it's like the asbestos of the tortilla chip. The sharp fragmented particles are still stuck in my throat. But I think I just coughed it out, so it's fine. But anyway, you bought some new straps. Yes. I bought a new bracelet that's going to be coming. So we'll talk about these as well a little bit. But before we get into all the strap stuff, we should talk about what it is that we're wearing, what we've been wearing, how has the summer been treating us.
Why don't you start? Yeah.
So I am wearing a watch I have not worn in a very long time. I have on my app, I don't know if you saw this, but now there is in our Wrist Track Pro app a bunch of new things, but one is sorting. You can sort the list by most recently worn. Therefore, I had it by count number for a while. So you had its manual or count number. Now there's a few extra options. In order of entry, reverse order of entry, A to Z, Z to A, most worn, and now order by last worn date, which means the top, when you open the app, the top one will be the one you most recently wore. The bottom will be the one that you last wore. And that, therefore, it kind of gives you a little bit of a punch in the guts to wear certain watches.
That's very smart.
So I saw, holy hell, I hadn't worn my Explorer in absolutely ages. So I wore it a couple of days ago. And then I wore it specifically because I was going to Abu Dhabi. It's sticky, it's sweaty, and I wanted to wear something on a bracelet. I've been super pelagosing, and tutoring. So I was like, let's do something besides one of the tutors. And this was the only thing I had left on a bracelet. So Explorer. And I'm wearing it again today because it was still running, and that was the only thing running in the watch box. So yeah, Explorer 36. What can I say about it? It's the Explorer 36, the current one, right? Still fantastic, still super cool. And I do miss having some way of timing stuff. So the more that I got rid of all my GMTs. I got rid of everything with date functions. What I've realized is all I care about is timing stuff. And I don't know why this is so important, but I do. I cooked yesterday, and I really enjoy, even if it's a ramen or something for 5 minutes, but even with a bezel or with a chronograph, it's fun to time stuff. I do miss not having a timing bezel on the Explorer, but I guess it's the point, right? You don't want to overcomplicate something. So
yeah, you just have to remember the minutes.
Oh, there's no way I'm going to remember anything. So. I have the memory of a goldfish these days. So
right. Yeah. Or we all ADHD these days.
Little bit. Yeah. But I did, however, what watch did I wear? I'm trying to remember now. I did an oil change on the cars a couple days ago, and I wore I wore my rubber G-Shock. And I got some oil on it. And, every time you do an oil change, it doesn't matter how you do it. There is no way of taking the oil filter out without getting oil running down your hand. And of course, I got oil all over the G-Shock, and then you just like put some Dawn, dish soap on it and scrub it, and it's perfect again. And as some people were saying, I couldn't have done that with a NATO strap. Like it would have felt like crap, right? Having this oil soaked in, especially when it's hot oil.
Yeah, it's not good. So you also have the problem that when you have, oil in itself that is on the fabric, and then you wash it away with some other stuff. So you're basically also taking things away that protects the strap at some stage, right? So
yeah.
So it's not the best if you have to do this.
But I usually wear a bracelet watch for this. But because we were recording George's episode that day when I did the oil change, I was already wearing the rubber G-Shock. So I would have worn the metal one. I think that would have been a better option, but still, it worked.
Yeah, I think the G-Shocks are so robust against any kind of chemicals. It is
chemical contamination, anything like this. Yeah.
It's like these shoes, like these Doc Martens or something that have these special soles that are just resistance to all acids and other stuff, that work shoes, right? That you wear for work. So you don't have a sole that just dissolves when you walk into a factory floor and there's some chemical spills, which would not be good. So you have certain material, and G-Shocks are, I think, made of that.
You remember you talked about this, that there were certain rubbers that did not do well with certain chemicals. You mentioned your what is it, the spray, right? The DET,
the DET, mosquito repellent.
The mosquito repellent, yeah. And this one, obviously, I can vouch for. Old, disgusting, brown and black motor oil is perfectly fine on your G-Shock. It will wipe right off. No issue. So it does stand the test of that. Yeah.
So what is on my wrist
what are you wearing?
Yeah, I'm wearing, let me take this off.
Right. Let me guess. It's a Dougie.
Yeah, exactly. It is. Here, the Dougie, but on a new strap.
It is. So he has his navy blue Dougie on a sky blue sailcloth.
Yeah, it's a rubberized sailcloth. Yeah.
Which, by the way, my Zenith, the strap that you and I went to buy, remember, that was a rubberized sailcloth effectively as well.
It's a very nice strap, and it's from Opto Watch Co, who is on summer vacation now. Shop is still open, of course, but deliveries will only happen in August. And before that vacation, our friend Mubarak from the Opto Watch Co shop had a special offer, 25% off the summer vacation offer. So I bought straps.
How many?
3.
Okay.
And
it's not as bad as our Hodinkee hauls. Remember those? When Hodinkee was going out of business, we were getting like 20 it was costing us like nothing.
Yeah, I know. This is different, but let me show you the straps. I don't know how I'm sharing here my screen, because it's 3 straps, and it's a bit more exclusive ones. That's why I thought, let me utilize the discount, right? And I wanted to share this. I think I can do this here. So first of all, this is the new shop location. It's in Barsha Heights, or formerly known as TCOM. So there's an office that Opto Watch Co is now occupying. So you can actually go there, look at all the straps, try it all on. There's a lot of, that you can, it's nice. It's nice. It's like a little showroom, basically, and you can just pick up your things there. So what I bought was this 2 straps.
Ostrich.
Both are ostrich, exactly. One is ostrich belly. This is the one that is with the small texture and these holes from the feathers. And the other one is ostrich leg, which looks more a bit like alligator, like, but with a very leg. different pattern. Yeah, like a very big chicken leg.
It looks almost like a lizard or a what do we say, like an alligator style, but a more haphazard pattern.
Yes, it's very nice. And both, of course, leathers are very soft, which is very nice. Especially the belly is super soft leather, so really, really nice. And of course, I had this rubberized sailcloth initially for my Seiko diver.
Yeah,
but then I thought, it also fits on the Dougie, so I put it on the DUG.
I like this one. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm a huge fan of the ostrich straps. This is because I have to say, coming from Texas as a repatriated expatriated Texan, we had a boatload of ostrich boots, right? So ostrich was kind of one of the most typical boot materials you would get for cowboy boots. And it was just a lot of ostrich. And we'd always see these little pockmarked, dotted materials.
Yep.
So I saw tons of this, but I prefer more, maybe it's my personal preference, but I like more of a smooth leather. But the rubberized one, I'm a huge fan. I think that's a really very nice. Good looking one.
And it's a very, very, very comfortable feeling. And so it's this leather on the inside. And then the rubberized sailcloth on the outside. The other thing that I've seen is a boil pup. A boil pup, which is a copy of a royal pop, which is a different thing. So
a royal pop is a copy of a royal oak, and then you found a copy of a copy, essentially.
Yes, it is. The thing is, it has exactly the same dimensions. You can take it in and out of the rubber strap that it comes with, right? And it's pretty incredibly wearable, which I didn't think it would be. And on the back, because this is a very cheap copy, of course, right? On the back of it is, because it's a quartz, right, is a sticker that says Boyle Pop, right?
What is a Boyle Pap? It's Pap.
This is just not to say Royal Pop. It's just to look like it from a distance, but not be the
Boyle Pop.
Boyle Pop. And it has a sticker where you can see the parts of the movement that you would see if you had a real one. But it's not real because it's a quartz watch. So
and I can immediately tell you that this is something you're not changing the battery on either.
Probably.
Because there's no way to get into it.
I have no idea. But the thing is, probably it pops open somewhere because it's a royal pop. Maybe it's just popping.
Pap. It says pap.
Pap, yeah. Royal Boyle Pap.
Pap.
So my point is, this is, I think, 100 dirhams, including everything. So.
And could you buy a real royal pop and put it in this case?
Yes, it would fit.
The strap.
Because the strap is actually working. And because I had this discussion with Mubarak about the idea of having also straps for the royal pop, right? As a strap manufacturer, he wanted to, of course, say like, hey, maybe we can do this. And he talked to some of the suppliers and they said, yeah, we can do it. And no problem. It will take 2 weeks because we have to get first the measurements properly done, the molds done, and blah, 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 right? And as you know, if you mass produce things, you need to have a mold in order to put these things in this, what is it called? Impression molding, high pressure. Injection molding and all of this stuff. So the point there is that you have to get it somehow into that structure. And if you ask any company to make a specific mold for you, there's different types of molds. There's molds that last 1,000 pieces and molds that last 50,000 pieces, right? Or 500,000 pieces or millions of pieces. And of course, the more you want to produce, the more expensive they get. So you can create a small one for 1,000, 5,000 pieces, and then you have to purchase a new mold. Basically, then it's, you have to, of course, make it valuable over the amount that you purchase, right? Because if it costs you $5,000.
How many royal pops have you seen?
That is exactly my point. And this is why I wanted to talk about this topic, and I'm not so sure if we should do it, but the hype.
We'll see if at the end there's time, but we will talk about it if today, another day.
Because that is the point. The hype seems to have died down so quickly with the royal pop, and I haven't.
I don't think there really was much hype beyond the first week, maybe even.
I still see people trying to sell it for profit, and
I love it. I love it because they got screwed so bad. People are putting it up for 2,000 dirhams, and everyone's just laughing at it. And that took much longer for the Moon Swatch, right? Because people were, at the beginning buying it for 8,000 dirhams. Yeah. We remember this in the TP auctions, right? Correct. Somebody bought these for 8,000 dirhams, and then now if you put it up for even slightly above retail, everybody on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, just make fun of the people that try to do this, that try to flip them.
I think when you have a very specific limited edition, one of this, of this very rare ones, then you could still get a premium on it. But the Moon Swatch hype hasn't died, to a certain extent, at least.
Yeah.
Because the latest one, the one with a real gold dial, the 1969, the special edition where only 1,969 pieces will be released. There was a ESTA application where Swatch made a big joke about the ESTA, the electronic travel authorization form that you have to fill out when you go to the United States if you want to have a visa-free travel there. And they made a lot of these questions, which are, some of them were real knowledge that you had to know about specific timings of which whatever Apollo mission started, ended, on all of stuff, and how long it took, whatever. These kind of questions. But there were also questions like, have you ever talked bad about Omega or Swatch on any social media platform?
Never. You and I have only ever been very positive about Omega and Swatch Group in general, right?
When these questions came, I was like, what should I answer? I don't know. Anyhow, I did fill out the application form.
And you told them you did not speak negative, right?
Never. Have I ever spoken negative about Omega? No, never. I always think like, they are so slim, these Omega watches. It's such a nice thing. Everybody who complains is stupid.
Wafer thin, as they say.
Yeah. So what I have realized is that they have released how many actually applied for these 1,969 watches, and it's 1.5 million people who have actually filled out this application form. And they're all going to be somewhat chosen, because the thing is, and this is what I didn't know, this solid gold dial is apparently a few grams heavy. So the gold value of this dial is more than they sell the watch for.
Okay.
So
how much are they selling the watch for?
I think it is it 399 euros or something more, 500, 599? I don't know. I have forgotten it. But the point is, somebody calculated and said if that's true, the amount of gold, 18 karat gold, or 750, that is in the watch is actually heavier or worth more than the watch is being sold for. And that could be quite interesting to see if that's, this is obviously like price dumping something, but
the first person who gets it, rip it apart, melt down the gold, see how much gold you have, and just sell it. If it truly is worth more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So it's at least when you say, I think this is one of the things where people said, look at the greed, they're making another special edition, and now that would be a complete diffusing of that, right? When you're saying like, no, actually, we actually what is it?
So I'm looking it up right now. Apparently. Yeah. They are using 11 grams of gold.
Whoa.
Okay. And the current melt value, let's do
18 karat.
11 grams. Is it 18? It is 18 karat gold value is, drum roll, ladies and gentlemen, 4,063 dirhams.
Okay. So
roughly $1,100 US.
What?
Yep. So that's quite a bit of gold.
This means they're really subsidized.
And they're selling the watches. for 500 Swiss francs. So it is half the price of the gold. And apparently, the gold was in 1969, historically, in July 21st, 1969, this was worth 48 Swiss francs.
Wow.
I don't know why that bit of information is listed there, but it is.
So basically, Swatch gifts you money. I mean, literally.
Down. All of them.
So I think this is, there's a subsidized watch. I mean, that is incredible. I think this is incredible because it's.
Let's see if you get one.
It shows the world that that is not greed. This is giving back. Oh, so sweet.
Definitely.
So sweet.
So when the watch becomes obsolete because the pushers are going to break off, you will be able to melt the gold down.
So the question is, are these pushers, because they're also in gold, are they gold covered? Or in this watch, they have. It's actually
a pretty
watch. It is very pretty because it has the gold. It's a black and it has the gold bezel inserts. Not inserts. The numbers are golden, and of course the pushers are gold. So it looks pretty nice and has a golden dial, right? So
it does have gold pushers. The dial has recessed counters. Blah 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 blah.
Should I share my screen for you?
No, I'm reading it right now.
Seeing it, okay.
Let me put in pusher.
But I don't know. I think
it boasts a dial, hands, crown, and pusher from Omega's 18K. So it is moonshine gold. So the pushers, the numerals. Oh, sorry. What was it? The dial, hands, crown, and pushers are 18 karat gold.
This would really be a very nice watch. It looks absolutely spectacular, I think, for a moon watch.
Maybe the pushers won't break off on this one. The plastic ones broke off.
But the point is, it's nice. The question is, and this has garnered so much more hype again than the Royal Pop. And I think the Royal Pop has so fizzled out. Anyhow, let's not talk about Let's talk about this later in the episode if we have time. So what's the topic today then?
I don't know. You said you wanted to talk about straps. Did we already talk about straps? No. Yeah, I want to go into the videos that I watched.
Okay.
So I want to do a few things. So you talked about your straps. Is there anything else you want to talk about your straps since you've worn them, since you've tried them?
Straps are life. Straps are amazing. Change more straps.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, in general, I think it's I really have way too many straps, but I think they also do reinvigorate my love for specific watches,
Yeah, absolutely.
And it makes it so much more versatile when you have, for example, this is of course a watch, a light blue strap is not easy to match with anything, right? And okay, everything that's blue, you can wear it. Everything that's white, everything's black, usually works. Mm-hmm. But, some colors could be a bit too much. But then it's a nice contrast because that's also a thing, color blocking, and just put different contrasts together, right? So if your fashion, whatever, not always everything is tone in tone. So it makes it takes a watch to a different level sometimes, or makes a watch that is very dressy, sporty, or the other way around. Makes a sporty watch dressy. If you have, let's say, a glossy alligator strap, then this watch is way more dressy than if it's a sailcloth that is matte.
And I honestly, I don't get this somehow. Sometimes watches are released on the absolute wrong strap. And I've seen this before numerous times where brands will say, here's a nice dive watch. Why don't you have it on a glossy alligator black leather strap? And you're like, why? This is not, for a dive watch. It's supposed to be a waterproof watch. It doesn't make any sense. 100%. But this is one of the things that some things don't go well together, but a lot of things do.
Yeah, also sometimes it's the boring choice or the most boring choice, but it doesn't do the watch any good. Like my Blancpain 50 and my Blancpain Villeret, blah, blah, blah. This one came on a black strap. My Glashütte Original Pano Reserve came on a black strap. Both of these watches are in rose gold. Both look wonderful with dark brown or burgundy, red or green or dark blue alligator straps. They look fantastic. They really bring out the shine of the rose gold and all of this stuff. It's wonderful. Black is like the least. I mean, I've never worn these watches on the original strap, not a single time. Because when I got them, I thought, no, it's just not working.
So I don't even like black leather straps. I'm anti black leather. Kind of. It doesn't suit. I think there's no character in black leather, right? And this goes all the way to, I don't own a single pair of black leather dress shoes, for instance, right? Because I'm just like, why? It's kind of just pointless, right? You have so many different types of browns, for instance, just in the brown category alone. You can have suede, you can have, light suede, dark suede, light leather, light brown, dark brown, and you have everything, right? There's no single situation where you need a black leather dress shoe, except for if you're wearing a black suit, right? And then when do you wear a black suit? To a funeral, to a wedding. And as it should be probably your wedding if you're going to wear a black suit to it, right? So it just doesn't make much sense. So that's why I used to have black leather shoes and I just got rid of them because I never wore them. So same thing with straps. I don't think it's a very versatile strap color. There's a few exceptions. I could see a black leather racing strap, for instance, with the perforated holes, like that's kind of classy. But once again, for me, I don't own a single black leather strap except for the ones that they came on. The Grand Seiko came on one. I got my Omega, the Moon watch came on one, and it just does not work with it. It's just such an ugly strap.
So before you go into the videos, I want to just say that I think that these propensity, if that's the right word, of watch dealers and watch manufacturers and actually even custom watch strap makers is due to the current generation of people, younger generation of people buying way more watches on straps than ever before. Because that's what I read. It's
I agree. I agree with this. However, there are ebbs and flows of this. So if you think back, early 2000s, are you going somewhere with this?
Yeah. I think this is because the straps now with these companies like Deluxe and others that are now, I think they are on their third boutique now that they open. They will eventually have one in Dubai as well, right? A proper boutique for Deluxe. So it's pretty amazing. They make these custom straps. Vacheron Constantin makes custom straps for you if you want to. All of these companies have some kind of custom strap making if you really ask. And this is I think a perfect individualization of your watch, right? I mean, you can't anymore change the dials or make any special other modifications on the watch without getting into trouble with the brand, but you can change the strap, right? Unless it's a Rolex and they don't really want you to do that, but hey, different story. But this is a very, very nice individualization of expressing yourself with your watch and saying, this is what I think I want to have on my watch. Anyhow, so now over to you.
So what I was saying was, if you look back in the day, bracelets were the kind of go-to. If you have an expensive watch, it had to be on a bracelet. That's what the perception was, right? So if you look at rappers, they all were rapping about bracelets, right? They were talking about watches on bracelets. And then at some point,
I wouldn't know.
And this is very clear that Jay-Z apparently was the first one of this kind of these rappers to embrace Patek and to start getting watches on leather straps. And he famously said you are not a watch collector until your watches are on leather.
Ooh.
And this was like early 2000s, like, right? Like no one else was doing this. So he said, and by that he meant, we're not switching out straps. Like you don't get into watches until you get to the point where your watches only come on straps. And he was talking about, of course, Patek, calendar watches, perpetual calendars and stuff like this, which of course there's no bracelet. There are, but only in the Nautilus. But he's talking more about these classical Patek models.
I mean, look, I think 95% of all Pateks come on leather straps or just straps.
Exactly. Well, they used to. I don't know if the numbers are there still. Same with if you look at A. Lange & Söhne, right? Except for the Odysseus.
The watches being produced, I'm saying the watches in the catalog, like if it's,
Yeah. Then yes, correct. Because you have significantly less, but I think, in my mind, I'm thinking they're making more Nautiluses than they are other stuff, just because the Nautilus is what people want. That's what they're selling. But yes, if you look through the actual items of what they have.
I'm just sharing the Vacheron Constantin website, and you see there is an overseas in the middle on a metal bracelet, and left and right there's the 56, there's the 1921, then on the right there's the Historique and the what's the other Patrimony. Yeah. Everything is on leather straps. Except
so 4 out of 5 on leather straps for the Vacheron's main picture on their webpage, which that's roughly what I would assume for these. And this is what Jay-Z meant back in the day. Like you're not into watches unless your watches come on leather. And nowadays that has kind of shifted, right? And I see this myself because I have strap phases and bracelet phases. And I mentioned I bought a new bracelet. I finally bit the bullet and bought the Forstner Flatlink, the original one for the Speedmaster, because I've always wanted one. Never really bought one. It was on sale. Got it for $136. Shop and ship it. Let's see what happens. But I did some digging as well, and this is what I like is Forstner was one of the OEM bracelet manufacturers back in the day for Omega. And apparently Forstner, specifically at the time, they were called JB Champion. And they were specifically for the US sold watches, which apparently they were splitting up, there's watch because they made their bracelets in America. So therefore they were the OEM supplier for American sold Omegas, which is kind of cool that they even, they I'm guessing then they sent the watch heads over.
Yes, correct.
And then they would be assembled somewhere there.
Yeah.
But kind of cool. Once again, you're sticking to the original line of production.
I think it had also to do with tariffs and other things, that it was more expensive to just ship things rather than just produce it locally. So you had Rolex had a couple of these producers in different countries. For South America, they had a different producer. For North America, they also had slightly different quality, right, at the time. Today, BMW is made by BMW. It can come from whatever, Alabama or
factory,
right, in the US, or it can come from Munich, or it can come from whatever. It's a different factory, but
they still have different qualities. We see this, right? Compare a Tesla from America versus a Tesla from China. Have you heard about this?
No.
Apparently, everything that was built in America was significantly lower quality standards than everything that came out of China. So America had worse quality control than China did.
Well, there you go.
They were comparing panel gaps and stuff like this, and apparently it was shit. And this is true. Like if you compare, Japanese cars made in Japan versus Japanese cars made in, other countries, the Japanese ones were always significantly of higher quality, higher standards.
There was this viral post, or did you share that with me, where this Honda or somebody?
Yeah, Honda. I shared that with you. Yeah. So Honda. No, sorry, it was Toyota. No. Yeah, Toyota started selling the Tundra and Toyota Tacoma in Japan, which is their two most famous pickup trucks. And both of these pickup trucks have to be manufactured in America because of something called the chicken tax. I don't know if we went into chicken tax here before, but essentially, basically anything that was considered heavy duty machinery had to be made in America. So you cannot import it. If you import it, you have to spend a whole boatload of money on import tariffs on these. Yeah. And pickup trucks classify as this work, equipment essentially. Yeah. So anyway, it's cheaper for all these manufacturers to build trucks in America.
It's also nearly the only market that really wants these huge pickup trucks.
Yes, whether that's the case anymore, because obviously now Japan wants them. And of course, Japan has always been a huge proponent of Americana, right? Ever since, like denim and all of this other stuff became a big thing. And this all came back from, where does Americana come? Well, World War II, soldiers were stationed there, and I guess the Japanese just loved American stuff. So now, fast forward 75 years, they want American trucks. But when they sell the American trucks, they have to put these freaking stickers on the window saying, wait a second, before you buy this vehicle, do note that this is made in America. This is not made in Japan. And as such, the quality standards are significantly lower. Here are some of the issues you might face. And there was like, the paint is too thin. The paint is too thick. The paint is running. There are, defects in the interior. They said the radio and electronics may not work perfectly. And all of this giant laundry list of stuff that apparently, if it's made in America, is okay. But as soon as it's made in Japan, is no longer okay.
The Japanese customers wouldn't accept this.
Yeah,
that's the
exactly
thing. Because
but you want to be American, you have to get it with all the problems.
Good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
But
so
that's anyway really surprising, especially because if you think if somebody like Toyota is producing in the US, they have the same standards. But no, it is produced also to a specific value, right? Sales value. So, but this chicken tax is one of the most interesting things because the pickup trucks have been so protected in the United States. And do you know how many of the Ford F-150 is being sold outside of the United States? I would say it's probably single-digit percentages. if
no
at all.
way.
If at all. Outside US.
All right, let me see.
Right.
Ford F-150 sales by region.
International sales. Yeah, international sales.
Well, we want to compare it against the American region, right?
Yes, because I think the US market is just by far the biggest. I mean, I would not see it bigger than.
Yeah, you're right. It is single. North America accounts for 90% of total sales volume, and the Middle East represents the second largest.
Yes, because we have space and we have cheap petrol and we like big cars. So, but the thing is, and this is what I said before, that's the only car where the American car manufacturers are still leading, right? In these manufacturers, because they have this protected, insulated world with the pickup trucks. They're popular, but they're also very expensive because entry to market is so hard for competition, right? I mean, some manufacturers do it, like Toyota, who built up their big factory there and produced competition for that. I think Honda as well, but I'm not so sure. But it's not many. The rest is just American manufacturers, and they all make these trucks, and that's their biggest selling cars. So, yeah, once the competition comes in, if the tariffs would be not there anymore, the chicken tax.
Yeah. By the way, do you know who caused the chicken tax?
Chicken McLittle.
You did. Your people are the reason behind the chicken tax. So essentially, back in the day, this was in the 60s, the great people of West Germany decided that we were going to impose, we as in you Germans, were going to impose a tax on chickens, American chickens, right? So America was selling a lot of chickens to Europe at the time. And the Germans says, "Nein, we will not have this." So they put a tax on chickens. And then America, this was President Johnson, said, like, as a snapback, basically, or clapback, or whatever the kids call it these days, said that, oh, Mercedes, you want to import trucks to us? No. So they put this tax onto all essentially trucks and farm equipment and any kind of, commercial vehicle that was being imported. And the target was Mercedes-Benz, was the ones that were trying to bring stuff over.
Yeah, and trade wars. I mean, look, nowadays it's still American chicken is not being sold in the European Union because of the.
Well, now it's not sold for a number of reasons, right? It's not because of that. It's just because they don't even pass EU standards at this point.
Correct.
Half of the chicken is just
chlorine washing or something. Is not something
I think it's just all the hormones and everything they're pumped full. Just to put into perspective, when we first moved here, the first thing I noticed was why the chickens are so small here, right? Here, an average chicken, if you go to the store and you say, I want to buy a whole chicken, is what, 900 grams, 1 kg? In America, one chicken breast is 1 kg. It's nuts. These are turkeys. They're not chickens.
Yeah, I think Trevor Noah had said the same thing about African chickens and American chickens, of how they are like 3 times the size, the American chickens.
Yeah, it's nuts. And then my mother came over once, and she was also very confused by this because she's been so Americanized over the long run that she forgot that, chickens in America are not normal sized.
Everything in
and that's not normal, right? This is not natural that these chickens are, getting to this size.
Yeah. But anywho, so
you learn a lot on our podcast, don't you guys?
And now tell us about this American dude who is making videos about the strap.
Yes. So, all right. So I bought my Forstner straps, and then I said, let me look at some videos, blah, blah, blah. And I own a few Forstner straps. They're fantastic for the price, for $130. Like it's ridiculous how good they are. So since I went on vacation for 2 weeks, I am way behind on all my watch content that I usually consume. So I have a system for this. I go through my subscriptions on YouTube and I click and start every single video. They all get put into the history. And then I go through the history as a list. So I'm able to then remove, I say, remove from history. And then that way, everything that I've watched gets taken out, which is not great for my algorithm, unfortunately, but it works for this specific purpose. If I come back, I have 100 videos to watch, then slowly I'm removing them one at a time. And generally I watch the shortest ones first, get them done. And then the long ones I kept for the end. So here I am like a week and a half after coming back from vacation, still watching this stuff. And Harrison Elmore, who is an American guy, who has a YouTube channel, did a series of these videos about straps, right? And he was thinking when he mentioned, is he going to do it all in one? But it would have been like a 3-hour video. Nobody would have watched it. So he broke it up. So the first video he made was about rubber straps, and he went into all of the different types of rubber, talked about natural rubber, why no one uses natural rubber, which I never even thought of. Apparently natural rubber for straps would dry out and become very brittle over time, and therefore just snap. So no one, except for like 1 or 2 people in the world at the moment, are making natural rubber straps. Those are being sold as natural rubber, by the way, as kind of a novelty. Most of the straps then there's silicone straps, which silicone strap, like the Apple Watch straps, those are, they break down over time as well. They get, they attract a bunch of dust and stuff like this. So they're not the highest of quality. They're extremely cheap though. And then we get into the top end, which apparently are, I believe it was, FKM is the highest one. But the other one I think it's NBR. And then there's another one called, HNBR or something, hydrogenized NBR. And both of these are essentially the way they are making these straps. So FKM is fluorocarbons, and NBR is nitrile, which I don't know what any of this means. I really don't care, but they're, for all intents and purposes, very, very similar. NBR straps are the ones that have that vanilla-y smell. Apparently that is put in.
Yeah, it's put into to mask. That's a different smell, right? It would smell
so that has to be, so that is an additional thing that's put in because apparently these NBR straps stink. So they put this vanilla scentedness in there. But that's a quick way you can tell if it's NBR or not.
And where did the first rubber straps have their vanilla scent made of?
What do you mean where?
Was it made of? The vanilla scent? It wasn't
I have
made
no
from
idea.
vanilla.
No, of course not. I'm assuming it's all fake. But what is it?
So let us Google this together. Come on, I'll just do this together. I'll share my screen quickly.
Okay.
And then we will do this together because...
Is it going to be like rat feces or something?
Worse. So what was vanilla scent made of historically? Historically, true vanilla scent came from the cured seed pods of the vanilla orchid, and then...
Yeah, we know that one.
Castoreum, a yellowish fluid from the castor sacs of beavers that has a musky vanilla aroma, used for centuries in niche perfumes and traditional medicine. So that is the butt secretion of a beaver.
I was close.
And
so
it was cheaper and they used it in perfumes. I don't know how they ever found out that beaver's butt.
Who's smelling beavers' butts?
Trapper John.
Yeah, I think so.
He needed to make a cap for himself. You know these beaver caps? I wanted one as a...
This cap smells an awful lot like vanilla.
I always wanted to have these beaver caps with this tail.
With the tail on the... So anyway, so he goes into this about how the rubber straps, the differences, and then he mentions a whole bunch of different ones. I'm not going to bore you guys too much with it. Then he went into bracelets. He talked about differences in bracelets, which apparently, there's a bunch of differences. He talked about solid end links, solid links, rolled links. Rolled links are extremely light and jingly jangly. Solid end links, of course, have to be machined. They're not bent, which takes more time, more effort. And therefore are more expensive. And he goes through all these. He was talking about the differences in mesh, for instance, just in mesh bracelets alone. There's so many different ways of making mesh. He was talking about the thickness of these mesh bracelets. Like the really cheap ones are super thin. Then you have like the Omega Ploprof style shark mesh, which is like super thick and durable. And then, of course, he tops out with the Ming bracelet, which is the new Ming made this new titanium 3D printed bracelet that's like $2,000 or 8,000 dirhams. And it was made with a consortium of companies, which included, let me see who, Ming bracelet companies. It was... Where is it? It was called a polymesh bracelet, but I'm trying to see who else, because it was a bunch of companies that kind of contributed to this, but I'm not seeing anyone else's name on here. So Ming was the one that put their name on it. I know that.
So yeah,
polymesh bracelet. I'm not seeing it, but he mentioned a whole bunch of them, which I feel bad for not knowing.
Yeah,
who made it?
I don't know, but I can tell you who made the new Patek Golden Ellipse bracelet. I think we talked about this before, which is
found it. Sorry, it was made by Fears, Ming, and. Hold on. Where's the other one now?
Yes.
Ming, Fears, and Messina Lab. So these three got together, and they were the ones that made it. But Ming got to put his name on it for some reason. But it's a ridiculous strap. It bends like cloth, but it's titanium.
Yeah, so everybody I haven't had it in my hand, but everybody who did have it in their hand is just like it flows like water
It's
around
ridiculous.
you. It
Yeah.
must be. Do you have touched it?
No, I haven't. I've just
Oh,
seen the videos of it, and
yeah,
everyone says,
it is beautiful. And everybody who touches this can't believe actually how it feels. So it's
yeah.
really something special. But I wanted to just draw your attention to this little $60,000 bracelet from the Golden Ellipse from
Ellipse.
Ellipse. This is made out of 300 individual links mounted by hand, screwed together, 363 altogether elements for this bracelet, which can be sized. The old one couldn't. It had to be cut. Remember this old Ellipse bracelet that was silly, because when you ever wanted to sell the watch, that's it. That's the length of the bracelet. You could only shorten it, never so it's a bit weird.
Never add to it. Yeah.
So, and this one is made from Wellendorf, which is a jewelry company. So obviously, jewelry companies, they have a benefit of making these kind of things because they know how to do these things. So it's So even Patek has outsourced that to a certain extent because it's so hard to do.
Yep. All right. So he talked about all the bracelets. Then he talked about NATO straps, and he talked about a few important things in NATO straps, which I didn't really think about. I'm a huge NATO strap guy, but I never thought about these things. Essentially, he said there are multiple types of NATOs, which we know. I didn't think about this. Apparently, the cheapest of NATOs are cut from a thick, splotch of fabric. And then they have to seal the sides as well. So if you ever see a NATO strap with the sealed sides, that means that's as cheap as you can get.
It's burnt.
It's burnt, exactly.
Like burnt,
or heat sealed, And most, if you go up from there, is going to be a ribbon, right? And ribbons are already sewed in such a way that the ends are sealed, right? So there's no heat sealing. So that's what we usually see. Then he was talking about essentially the sealing of the ends, right? Most are burned or heat sealed. Same with the holes. Some could theoretically, do some stitching around the holes and around the edges to make sure that doesn't unravel. Some have their keepers sewed in. Some are just simply melted together. Mm-hmm. The original quote unquote G10 strap was in the original, requirements that it had to be heat sealed, which I don't know why, but they didn't do stitching. They did heat sealing. And then he talked about the materials, of course. I didn't get this as well. Bark and Jack, or Adrian Barker, always talks about this in his ads, right? About the different types of nylon and the 70-30, which apparently is 70% polyester and 30% cotton. And it has a different texture. And then he always says ribbed nylon, which apparently is a different weave, and all of this random stuff, which I never thought of. For me, a NATO strap is a NATO strap, but apparently it's not that simple.
No. See,
thickness in NATO straps.
This is when Tudor had their first NATO straps in the box, right?
Tudor has never made NATO straps. They were never NATOs. Because they had holes for spring bars always.
Yeah, they were not.
That they would clip in. So technically, it was like a bracelet,
straps. The textile strap. Yeah. Let's call it a textile strap. But
yes, it was a textile strap.
They looked like a NATO, but they were, as you said, with two spring bars,
fixed,
but had the same benefit, right? Because one spring bar could fail, and the watch
and the other one's still
on your wrist, right? So because the strap was going around your wrist, right? So you had the benefit of a NATO strap without the extra bulk, basically. So it was pretty clever, I think, the design. But
of course,
they made this video of their French producer who makes these ribbons for haute couture, blah blah blah, companies for fashion. Ribbons that are used in whatever dresses and suits and what have you, on more than 100-year-old looms, because these are the only ones who have this the ability to do these small threads and these patterns that you need in order to create out of the very, very thin threads such a thick and reliable material. And that also means that you can only do certain patterns with these kind of looms, which others cannot do. So he still uses these 100-year-old wooden looms to weave this stuff, and it weaves only a couple of meters a year. A day. So it's very, very difficult to make these, especially with the new ones, the new factories that are spitting out kilometers of
Julien Farr.
Yeah. It's amazing when you see this video of how they're made, you think, wow, this is, I didn't know this. And it's apparently, it's a craft. It's really some sort of an art form to really loom these things together and even program the looms to do this, because they are old mechanical wooden looms, right? Mechanized to a certain extent. But man, this video is
very cool straps. Yeah. They're very cool straps, and Tudor straps have always felt very, very nice. And I have now finally I got one on the FXD, right? One of the Julien Farr straps. But historically, all the Tudors that I've had have always been on the NATO strap, but I've never actually worn them because I feel like they're too nice. I don't want to mess it up, wear it out, swim in it. It does feel like a work of art a little bit. So, too nice. Yeah, it was. Anywho, and then, so apparently there's a bunch of nuances in NATO straps. So, he goes into all that. And then in the last of these episodes, he talks about leather. And he says, because leather has the most nuances, he made 2 45-minute episodes he said an hour and a half for just leather. And then in the leather ones, he's talking about, once again, the differences in all of these. First, the grain of the leather.
Oh, yeah.
So whether it's full grain, top grain. So full grain means you have the skin of the cow, the outermost layer of the skin. Yes. However, of course, the outermost layer of the skin has all of the insect bites, the branding, the other stuff that could potentially affect the look of it. So most companies don't want that. Or if they do it, they sand it down a little bit to get rid of these types of issues. But big companies like Bentley and Rolls-Royce are known to say they want the entire skin. And it has to be perfect.
Yes.
And of course, to get an entire interior, and they say they want the same cow, essentially, like the whole.
Yeah. But you need a few cows for each Bentley interior.
Yeah. But they have to be similar cows, and then they apparently there's
you don't want insect bites, and you don't want this because it's ugly. Unless, for example, if it's a kudu strap, kudus, they're not farmed. That means you always have scratches.
And for the cows, also the barbed wire fences, right? They get stuck in the skin, and then that messes that up as well.
It's a tough life, but this is interesting. But I mean, we know from the strap manufacturers that you have Epsom leather and Saffiano leather, and
which is all fake stamped, right? So Epsom, Saffiano, all of these are prints.
Yeah, structured to a certain extent. Yeah, and then you have the, of course, horse leather. The what is it called? I forgot.
Horween? No, Horween is the company that does it. What is it? The actual, because this leather. Horse.
Yeah. So my point there is
leather.
We should have.
It comes from the butt of the horse, right? I'm not joking.
It smells good.
So, what is it called?
Vanilla?
It is. What's the name of it? Shell Cordovan.
It's the back part, but it's not the butt.
It is the butt. But it's Shell Cordovan, and the benefit of Shell Cordovan, for instance, is that it does not crease. It rolls. Very
soft. It's super nice, yeah.
I sold you one of those, did I not? I think you ended up with one of my Shell Cordovan straps.
Maybe. I don't know.
The Horween one, I think.
I still have to get the straps from George. Still didn't do that.
From George, yeah.
But now
he's in Germany. He's in Greece now. And he didn't take a single watch with him.
What? So that means
not a single watch. Which
refuses to buy stuff. See,
that's what he said. He said, I will probably end up buying something. Is exactly what he said. But he said he's trying to detox.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. He's going to come back with 2 new watches for sure. Okay. But anywho,
I think we should.
With the leather,
we should have Mubarak on the show again, because I think this would be fantastic as a manufacturer of straps
of leather and all this stuff. He probably knows way more.
It gives us a bit of a background of what the differences are, what the longevity is, I know, for example, that alligator leather is used in watches so much because it's so robust. Not only for the looks, which is also cool, but it's also because it's extremely robust alligator leather. It lasts forever. It has a lot of resistance, again, there's chemicals and other things. Mm-hmm. And if you have seen some of these watches, like Chopard does it a lot, and I think even Vacheron in some of their watches, they have the alligator leather on both sides, also on the inside that you wear, which makes it even more longer lived than when you have a different leather on the inside. So it's very interesting.
I only have one. Do you have any alligator straps left?
Yeah, I have.
So I only have one left, and I remember
I have.
I bought it. It was a Hodinkee one, and if you remember back in the day, the Hodinkee alligator straps, they freaking cost an arm and a leg. I shouldn't say, but I shop and shipped it because you cannot.
Depends.
Theoretically.
Depends from where.
Bring in without the proper CITES documentation, right? CITES is the whatever endangered species, blah, blah, blah list.
Yeah, it's also a bit of a question mark for a lot of these straps. I mean, obviously, I will never encourage people to use endangered species, right? For anything.
But this is farmed alligator, right? I'm guessing.
Correct. Most of it comes from Florida and other places in the US. It's farmed, right? It's not really, and there's no shortage. There's no alligator or crocodile as in any shape and form endangered, anyways. But
isn't there's a caiman that's endangered or something like this?
Maybe, but the thing is, I think also the way how it's hunted and where and all of this stuff, it makes sense to a certain extent, but there's no reason why you couldn't have farmed one. It's like if somebody would have, farmed ivory, for example, which doesn't exist. But if it would, then it would be probably a bit different, right? But I think it is good that it's banned.
Why can't you farm? But I guess the issue there is, you'd have to farm the
elephant for like
the elephants, and it would take too long. And you take off the tusks, and they die. And that was not exactly worthwhile.
And an elephant eats about 200 kilos of plant food every day, so it's a lot. No. And also, elephants are very intelligent creatures, and you definitely don't want to have them in captivity. They just would go mental. That's a crime against nature to do that, I think, with lots of animals that are not meant to.
Alligators we don't care about. Let them be farmed.
They have survived millions of years without change.
Seriously, it's ridiculous. So you go back to dinosaur times and you still have like a carbon copy of cockroaches and alligators. Like, they haven't changed.
They have already reached peak performance. They cannot be improved. So that's it.
Yeah. But my point of story was I paid a whole boatload of money for this strap. And then every time I wear it, because there's a scale right by the lugs, right where it wraps around the spring bar. And one of the lugs looks like it's torn, right? Like, because of the way that it's bending. Every time the light hits it in one direction, I think that I've like ripped the strap, and then I kind of shit myself a little bit, and I'm like, oh, okay, wait, never mind. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. But this is one of the issues that I have with these, which I like that obviously, because the scales are so randomly placed, right? It's not like these stamps that you get with these faux alligator calf straps, which they have a pattern that they're stamping in, right?
Yes.
With these, you cut it and it's totally unique, totally random. But still, you end up with, these. And in this case, the way that it was bent in that specific location, it looks like there's a tear in the leather, and it's not the most reassuring every time I look at it. But then I have to remind myself what that is, right?
Yeah.
So out of the skins, all of the skins, right, that we talk about, I know you have your kudu straps, you have your ostrich, your chicken leg,
lizard.
I have alligator, goat. Do you have goat?
I don't have goat.
I have goats.
Also,
by the way,
buffalo.
you have buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
What the proper buffalo, or are you talking about the Indian water buffaloes?
No, I don't know. It's made in Germany and it says buffalo.
Because there's two different buffaloes. If you look at buffaloes, there's like the Canadian buffaloes, the majestic buffalo, and there's like the retarded cousin of the buffalo that you have in India, and these, the ones that are kind of in Africa as well, that they go down to the watering hole and they just are essentially cows with horns, and they're like extremely unintelligent.
I can tell you some. I mean, I have seen buffaloes in all shapes and forms in Africa and in India, but those
are the same buffalolos, though.
Anything but retarded. They're incredible creatures, I tell you.
Because I've seen them.
I've seen buffalo fight a pride of lions, and I thought, single one. He won, by the way. He won.
So apparently, I'm trying to see, are they all? Yeah. So there's the water buffalo, which is the Indian one,
but also
the African buffalo.
Water buffalo leather is very high end. It is not something. I remember that first in a very luxury car. I heard the salesperson tell me once, I mean, many decades ago, water buffalo leather. And we all touched the seats and I thought, oh, wow. Very supple, very soft, very nice.
So apparently the American and European buffalo are of a different, so essentially the African and the water buffalo, which is the Indian one, the Asian one, those are just cows. Then there's the European and American, which are an entirely different genre. So those are a little bit less bovine. But anywho, yeah. I don't think they would be making American buffalo, the bison straps, because they're extremely protected, those bison. Mm-hmm. Each one weighs the size of a freaking, Ford F-150, if not more. It's not something you would want to mess with.
I just know from my Dougie. My Dougie comes with a buffalo leather strap, and it says here, genuine buffalo leather strap. It doesn't say more than where the buffalo comes from, what was his name, where did he live, where did he grow up. We don't
What was his name?
It just says genuine buffalo. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently an American buffalo male weighs up to 1,000 kg.
So, you're going to tell me that the American buffalo is bigger.
Well, let me see. Okay, how much does a water buffalo weigh? So, oh, geez. Apparently, they also weigh up to 1,000 kg, so they could be the same.
So the Asian water buffalo is bigger, 1,200 kg, up to 1,200 kg. The Cape buffalo is up to 900 kg. And then there's a forest buffalo, which is a very small one with up to 270 kg, which is quite small. It's small. I mean,
you can get two into a jet tour almost.
Yeah.
With the new jet tour claims.
Yeah, but you also know that these, what was it? The elephants, when they're born, what is it, 120 kilos or something? It's yeah.
For those that don't get my jet tour reference, Americans, you don't have jet tours yet. They're coming, I'm sure. Europeans also don't have jet tours. But apparently somebody saw a jet tour in Italy rebadged as some Italian brand. So they're coming and they just won't be sold under the jet tour name. But essentially we have this Chinese SUV company. They sell this big Defender knockoff essentially. And it's a 5-seater, not a small SUV by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, it's good. Good looking.
So the issue is the weight capacity in this Jetur. It is once again a knockoff of a Defender 120, which the Defender 120 has a maximum payload of 900 kilos. Okay, just for perspective. The Jetur, which is the Chinese copy, fits 5 people as well, just like the Defender 120, and has a maximum payload of 350 kilos.
Yeah.
So if you quickly divide 350 by 5, you end up with 70 kg. So you can fit 5 people so long as those 5 people each weigh less than 70 kg, which is a very, very small amount. And it's just very strange how they managed to make this car, make it as big as it is. And this is total load for people and luggage. So that's 70 kg for 5 people with no luggage. Not even an extra piece of paper can fit in the boot, right? Which is just jokingly small. But
yeah.
Anyhow.
I think it's a bit like my car, my BMW 650i had this. It was also not the biggest. It had 4 seats, but of course the 2 back seats were like for kids, right? But it's I have a feeling that there was also like 470 kilos or so, something like that.
Just to put it in perspective, a Volkswagen Polo has a luggage capacity of 525 kg. So like 1.5 times this big SUV.
Yeah.
So it's once again, when you say these Chinese cars, right, they still have a long way to come. And of course, this is just a simple example of cost cutting, right? Because you have cheaper dampers, cheaper springs, cheaper running gear, cheaper everything. And that way you can make the car cost less, right?
For sure.
So Timuified.
It's also in China, you have certain brands like Seeker and whatever, some other ones that are high end, and you have then other models or brands, let's say it this way, like Jetur, who are in Japan considered to be entry level, right? In China,
not Japan.
Sorry, did I say Japan? Of course, yeah. Sorry, in Japan, it's upper mainstream.
You said Japan again.
China. So Jetur is a sub-brand of Chery, right? So
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Apparently, and it is. They export it, or the exporters often say, or importers in different countries are always saying it's a Chinese luxury SUV brand, but it's not really. Domestically, it's maximum mid to upper mainstream Chinese SUVs like Haval, Chang'an, Geely, and all of this stuff. It's not in the upper luxury level like the others, like Neos and Hongqis and Seekers and all of these guys, where you really have the luxury in it. But they are sold in a lot of markets, even here in the UAE, more expensive than way more expensive than China. So
like double the price of what the Chinese are getting it
think
for.
From the looks, because the looks are cool. I mean, the most Jeturs look pretty good.
Yeah.
That's why they actually, I think, sell, right? Mm-hmm. But from a quality perspective, they're still just
they got a ways to go.
Not that amazing. They're
and
much better.
To remember, like
brands,
these cars, if they're crash tested, are crash tested at they're not going to go above the maximum allowable capacity. So this is another way to kind of lower your risk as well, right? Because now if you have 350 kg stated, then they're going to test it with 350 kg of people or luggage or whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're using it every day with 500 kg or more, then you're at a higher risk. And then Jetur will say, well, we never said you could do that. So if everybody gets injured or hurt or die, they're going to say, well, we told you this is above our payload limits.
Sure. And that's something that you always have to consider. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
but
anyway, another tangential topic.
Most of the Chinese cars are now relatively safe. Or have even good 5-star crash test ratings, which is amazing of how quickly they got there. Because, you know,
it is.
15 years ago, the first Chinese cars were just horrendously unsafe in a crash. But now they're on the same level as the rest. It's pretty
Except
impressive.
for the MG3.
There's still exceptions.
Which I mentioned. That's the one where the entire driver and driver's seat and seatbelt detached from the car and flew through the windshield. This was during the Euro NCAP testing. And the Euro NCAP guys said, we don't have a checkbox for this. We don't know what to put. So they had to put 4 stars because this wasn't even a possibility on their criteria list. So, and they made a very big deal because they're like, yeah, we say 4 stars, but it definitely is not. So it just, they had to redo the entire, how do you say it, rubric for this because this happened. But anyway.
Maybe it's like the old Aston Martin DB5 from James Bond that could eject.
Ejectocito, yeah. But seeing how far, going back to watches, seeing how far all this is coming, I guarantee you at some point Chinese watches will become a thing.
Sure. I mean, this craftsmanship. Look at these guilloche guys from Atelier Ven, these Chinese guys, self-taught. You know, they have created their own.
But more mainstream, right? Because Atelier Ven and the current Chinese, look at, what's the one that made the globe?
Not the watches. I meant the maker of the guilloche for Atelier Ven, this Chinese artist.
Is Atelier Ven not Chinese?
It's a Chinese-French corporation, I think. But the Chinese artist who makes the dials for Atelier Ven, he has a self-taught guilloche master, and he does really amazing things. But he actually had to learn it all by himself in the backwaters in China somewhere. So
yeah, but look at once again, like the work that Chinese people have done over the past with all kinds of painting and artwork, and of course fine china and all of this stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Ceramics, they were always known for this. Terracotta. They had a whole bunch of different types, but what's never happened is they've never had a mainstream watch brand that has caught on outside of China, right? They got kind of close with the, what is it called? The Seagull.
Seagull, yeah.
Yeah, but that was kind of the only time we've heard mainstream Chinese watches or anything about mainstream Chinese watches in the, outside of China. But I guess it's the same thing with India, right?
It will come.
We haven't talked. Did we talk about this? About the new Terra?
No,
the Delhi watch company Terra.
The Delhi watch company, and they have sold out again, right? So if you,
I know, and they keep selling out, and I want the titanium one so badly.
Yeah,
but they keep selling out.
It took only a day or two, and it was sold out. And now the last people who
no, there's a lottery for it. There was a lottery for the titanium one because they only made I don't know how many thousand of them, right? And so they apparently in their lottery system had 100,000 people or whatever it was, and then only 1,000 of them got watches.
Wow.
But for $40, it was a titanium, super cool watch. The case is modeled around a carabiner. It had a quartz movement in it. I don't know if it was a Miyota, I think. And now they're saying that they will make an automatic version as well of this Terra.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Slightly higher price.
There's a couple of these really nice companies that do smaller manufacturers of watches. There's a Bangalore watch company that makes really nice watches. A husband and wife company that started that. Delhi watch company. I think there's a couple of others there. They have all of the watch company in different cities.
But if you haven't seen this, by the way, I would heavily recommend look it up. The DWC Delhi watch, DWC Terra.
They have a lot of other models as well. So if you don't want to have the specific one which is constantly sold out, they have also other ones that you can actually buy. Right?
So if you don't want the one that everybody else wants, then they have other ones that no one wants.
Right?
Traditional shapes, yeah.
because there are some that are available. Yeah, so
Yeah.
heritage,
Anywho,
whatever. Yeah.
So, anything else we want to talk about before we
No, I think for today
adjourn for the day?
We have to adjourn. Adjourned. Order.
Yeah.
Order.
Yeah. So apparently there's Delhi Watch Company, there's Lahore Watch Company, there is a lot of these apparently in India, Pakistan. They just put
India,
watch company at the end of something.
Yeah.
But I'm on their website right now trying to see the watches, but yeah, they got some nice stuff.
Of course, you have one of the largest watch companies in the world, which is Titan from the Tata Group, right?
Yeah, we know that one. We talked about that one before.
And, HMT, Hindustan Machine Tools. Yeah, these are the classical Indian manufacturers. Yeah, but that is the topic of another episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we hear you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.